On a cold night here in Charlotte, I think it's about 36 degrees, Will, Clemson hits a walk-off game-winning field goal, 34-31. They take down the SMU Mustangs. Bryce Koon alongside Will Maness. Will, we got to take in the last 5 minutes from the field. Wow. I mean, Ralph texted us. First off, Ralph's not in the building tonight, but Ralph texted us, and he said, what a change of momentum that quickly. Yep. Talk about, could you feel it in the building shift after that kick return?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, SMU, they put together a near-perfect 2-minute drive, 2+ minutes, to put himself in a position to tie the game, maybe even go win the game, and leave Clemson with no time on the clock. I mean, they executed it just about perfect, and scoring the touchdown with just a few seconds left on the clock. But the kickoff return killed them. I mean, I saw there was a missed tackle and just a little bit of a bust of kick coverage. Set Clemson up, and then you got to tip your cap to Clemson for executing. I mean, be able to hit that quick pass and having the timeouts, saving those timeouts, and a big-time kick to win a conference championship. Maybe to date, one of the biggest kicks in the conference championship game ever to put Clemson into the playoff.
Yeah, a team that a week ago didn't know at the 17th spot in the ranking, they didn't know if they'd have a chance to get in. And then obviously Dabo Sweeney shouts out Fran Brown because Syracuse knocks off Miami after Clemson lost to South Carolina, which obviously didn't matter in the conference race, but they needed that to happen. They do. Yep. And then just a week later, 7 days later, will they find themselves locked into a automatic bid in the playoff spot, we believe. So we'll obviously have all that coverage tomorrow at noon. But let's talk a little bit, obviously, about the winners first. Clemson, I was really impressed with the leadership and the veteran play of Cade Klubnik. And that's someone we talked about on the show on Wednesday. It's a guy that, he hasn't been explosive. But you saw tonight, and you mentioned that drive right down here to go down to the field. Calm, cool, collective. Talk about the play of Cade Klubnik, because I was impressed. He did what he's needed to get his team in position to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his numbers, they don't really pop off the page. I think he's around 50% completion, a ton of yards, because they were able to hit big explosive pass plays on SMU's defense, which, especially in the first half, I think was the difference in the game. The reason why they could race out to a big lead. But yeah, like you said, he's been there before. I mean, and we talked about it leading into this game. The experience of Clemson in this game, it's not going to be too big for them, especially in that first quarter. It was too big for SMU. Yeah. SMU had to settle in, and once they did what they did all year and played really well. But Clemson, like you said, is the veteran leadership. Dabo Sweeney said it on the stage, shouted out his players, the veterans that stuck around, the leadership. All that comes into play. When you're in a conference championship game, throw out the records, throw out how you've played most of the year. It's character that wins it more times than not, and character won it tonight for Clemson. Yeah,
they were able to maintain composure, win the football game. On the flip side, man, Ralph said it. He texted us. He said just a massive shift in momentum and emotions. You have an SMU team that's down 24-7, and shout out to the folks in the Crowded Booth Discord. They were counting them out. They said this is over. SMU might be fraudulent. They're out of the playoff. They're out of the playoff. But this team, like you mentioned, they continue to fight. I caught part of Rhett Lashley's interview when he talked with the sideline reporter on ESPN prior to the fourth quarter, and he said, we're almost there, and you could sense it. And then coming down the field for this game-tying drive right here in the corner of the end zone behind us or in front of us, the composure of Kevin Jennings, you can see. It's a young guy who's still learning and growing. We didn't talk to him, but we obviously saw the emotions he had coming off the field. It feels like there's going to be a sense of a revenge factor, the bitter taste in the mouth of SMU. They're going to have to wait to see their playoff fate. But I'll just say right here, you saw this team battle back from a 24-7 deficit. You saw them look down and out. Then they do what they did all year. I think SMU's a playoff team.
They're a playoff team, no doubt in my mind. I mean, you get to a conference championship game, you go undefeated in your conference, you're in a power conference, their first year in the ACC, that's got to mean something.
Yeah.
And down big in this game, 24-7, it was a disaster of a first quarter for them. Turning the ball over, they couldn't move the ball. But to regroup at halftime, to come back and make this a game and play well enough in the fourth quarter, win the game. They were down 17 in the fourth quarter. And I said it in the press box. I said, I've seen a 17-point fourth quarter comeback this year already. And I got to see two, but we learned it. We were right on the SMU sideline for the last few plays, and you could feel it on the sideline as they were moving down the field, like, we're going to go win this game. We're going to go win this game. You could feel that, and it's just
Heartbreaking.
You talk about the emotion. Every single guy for SMU with an SMU shirt on was just gutted.
Yeah.
When that field goal went through the uprights, but that's why we love college football.
Man, it's I was telling Will and obviously Gavin over there behind the camera, the commiserate troll of the crowded booth. I said this is why you love this sport. It can pump you up, and then obviously for SMU it ripped their heart out in a tough thing. But I do agree. I think SMU's a playoff team. I know you have your feelings about the Crimson Tide over there in Tuscaloosa. You don't want to see them in, but this right here. Look, they said the conference championships might be watered down. We've seen 2 games now come down to the wire, obviously in overtime over in Atlanta, and then you see this one over here. Man, just a tough way for SMU to lose. But then hats off to Clemson. I mean, the Tigers able to find a way. They're going to be a 3-loss team in the playoff, ACC champs, and that announcement comes tomorrow. I don't even want to speculate of what happens tomorrow, but we'll be live tomorrow night talking about that. But kind of final thoughts from Charlotte as we wrap this thing up. Any final tidbits?
I think Dabo Swinney summed it up beautifully on the stage. His team believed. They never faltered. They never doubted all season long. They kept plugging away, chugging away, winning the games they needed to win, and to be able to come back after a tough loss last week against South Carolina to come out and really put it on SMU in the first half and do enough in the second half to win shows you the character of that team. And knowing Clemson, seeing that paw on the helmet, there's not going to be a lot of teams in the playoff that want to see them. Yeah,
it's kind of crazy how things can change in a week, and that's why we love college football. But the final score, Clemson 34, SMU 31. An unbelievable performance on both sides of the football for both teams. I mean, they had their ups and downs, obviously consistency lacking at times, but overall it's college football. It was a great game. He's Will Maness. My name is Bryce Koon. We thank you so much for tuning in. The reaction, Clemson 34, SMU 31. Subscribe to the pod. We'll see you next time here on the Crowded Booth.